We're beating this case tonight, but I'm going to be so freaking sleepy. Again. Over. That'll be another game done. And never to be thought about again until we play the sequel, at which point... Alright.
The 25th, 2:21 p.m., District Court, courtroom number 9.
Now then, for the defendant, Miss Lana Skye, please take the stand. Is this... No, this is not the first time we've questioned the defendant. It's the second time. The first was Larry Butts.
Oh, yeah.
Butts.
And then for Lana, she came forward to confess.
Well,
but
yeah,
no.
but that was not the first time we got to... But yeah, we almost never question the defendant, which is kind of amusing, actually. You know, you're looking forward to the second and third game. Yeah, we're gonna have to take a break between them, though. Because I want to go back and finish some of the older games that we haven't finished, like Lost Sphere and Octopath and Okami. Things that have fell off the wayside because we moved and had other events and a bunch of other things. Anyway, Miss Lana Skye, you are the chief prosecutor. I'm sure you're aware of what's required of you.
But Mr. Edgeworth, you already know everything. You know all that I've done these past 2 years.
Please provide the court with your testimony, Miss Skye. And remember, you are under oath. We want to hear the truth.
Of course. The truth.
Oh, no Dragon Quest. Oh, God. I wouldn't mind finishing it once we get the couch up here, but...
Lana, no matter what happens, I'll always be your sister.
Now then, your testimony, if you will. First, tell us about your relationship with the Chief Gant. Everything hinges on your testimony. You're the only chance we have to get Gant.
Gant and the fabrication. I worked alongside Gant for years. There's no truth to this blackmail theory. I fabricated the evidence 2 years ago all by myself. When I found Prosecutor Marshall's body, I rearranged the crime scene. My only motivation was to get Dark convicted. Wait a minute. Why is she still defending Gant after all these years? Because at this point, even if she says she fabricated and forged everything, it would still incriminate her sister. Why is she still defending him?
Because Gant would probably throw the court case against Emma.
But even if this doesn't... Do you know what I mean? If Gant were convicted, she could still get the case thrown at her. Do you know what I mean? Or even if he weren't... I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? She has no reason to defend him anymore, but she still insists on it. My only motivation was to get Dark convicted. It had nothing to do with Emma.
Are you sure about this testimony?
Your Honor, I'm confessing to a capital offense. Of course I'm sure. Unless Emma really wasn't to blame at all. You know what I mean? But Lana...
If this is true, that means Chief Gant has nothing to do with this.
That's what I've been telling you from the beginning. Please, Mr. Wright, you've got to help her. She's sacrificing herself because of me.
What if she's telling the truth?
She's not. I know my own sister. Whenever she speaks stiffly like that, she's hiding something inside. Deep down, she's really screaming in agony.
Yeah, this is no time to start second-guessing myself. The defense may now begin its cross-examination.
Okay, worked alongside him for years.
How many years exactly?
Ever since I made senior detective. Let's see, I was 24 then. So that'd be 5 years.
Detective Gant and Detective Skye were legendary partners. I personally saw them testify in numerous cases. She must have been good coming from the same school as Mia.
Damon Gant was a respectable detective. That's why. Okay, the whole truth to the blackmail theory.
So glad I don't have to voice act everything all the time anymore. But think about it, Miss Scott.
There were a lot of male characters in this one.
You didn't murder Detective Goodman. You told me as much yesterday in jail.
You still don't get it, do you, Mr. Wright? Any testimony you cannot present in court is as useless as idle gossip. I stabbed Detective Goodman with a knife, but you didn't murder him with it. That's the thing. She still stabbed him, but after he was already dead.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And...
did you do so to help your sister?
Joe Dark was a serial killer. My sister almost became his last victim that day. I didn't want that incident to ruin her life.
But what she did was justifiable self-defense. She wouldn't have been charged with anything.
That's not the point. She was traumatized that day, all because of that creep. That's why I couldn't forgive him. Lana!
So that's why you fabricated the evidence 2 years ago. You say you did this all by yourself.
Yes.
Do you mind telling us what you found when you arrived at the crime scene?
It seems I was the first person to discover the scene. The broken prosecutor award knife was stuck in the victim's body.
What?
Well, yeah, that wouldn't be right either, because he was impaled on the statue.
Yeah.
So I think Gant did everything.
Yeah.
I really think Gant did everything.
Because that's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yep. Yeah, he's pointing it out.
But Prosecutor Marshall died from an unfortunate accident.
That's only a situation you dreamed was possible. The reality is, it wasn't my sister who took the prosecutor's life. Fantasize all you want, Mr. Wright, but I'll never change this statement.
You mean Prosecutor Marshall wound up being killed by Dark?
Something like that.
If that's so, what happened to the other murder weapon? Dark was carrying a switchblade knife.
Oh, that was lying on the floor a little distance away. It was probably knocked away in the struggle.
That's not how it went down. She's trying to cover up her lies with more lies.
All just to protect me.
So when you found the scene like this, what did you do? After all, this is what everything boils down to.
Yes. Oh, this is new stuff, so I have to...
Yep.
I actually have to read it. I broke off the tip of Dark's knife, planted it inside the wound, and then moved the body.
You planted the tip of Dark's knife in the victim's wound? And then removed the body? Why? Why would you do that?
You of all people should know, Edgeworth. You've always had a good head on your shoulders.
My head isn't that bad, but maybe I ought to ask for the sake of the others. That knife moved the body.
Well...
yeah, why'd you move the body?
Mm-hmm.
When you showed up on the scene, where exactly was the victim's body?
It was where you deduced it would be, by Chief Gant's desk.
The body was found by your desk. Why did you move it there?
The reason for that is simple.
Let's have the witness explain this in more detail. The reason Miss Sky moved the body.
The pieces of the jar that shattered during the events threatened my plan.
Pieces of the jar, you mean?
Yes, that wretched jar you showed us earlier. In order to show that Dark committed the crime, I felt it would be more expedient to move the body.
So, when you first found the body, the jar was already...
Of course. It had been shattered into pieces. If you looked at the crime scene, it would be clear right away what happened. Neil Marshall was dead, and Dark was lying unconscious. In other words, the jar must have been broken during their struggle.
I see. What's the matter, Emma?
Apparently the jar shattered at the time the crime was committed. But I have a feeling there is more to it than that.
There must be a contradiction here somewhere.
Well, he had to have enough... Oh! The pot had to have been whole when he wrote it. The Emma business.
Oh, you're right.
So him being thrown forcibly against the statue or the wall wouldn't have shattered it.
Yeah.
It had to have been flung after the fact.
Oh.
You know?
Yeah.
And it means that someone else must have been stabbing someone else? Because Marshall would have already been dead if the pot was flying through the air.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm just curious about how it was flying through the air and didn't break.
Well, that's the thing. I think it broke when it fell through the air. Like, after it hit the ground. So that means that the pot must have been whole and Marshall must have already been dead when the pot was thrown.
This is confusing.
Anyway, I committed this fabrication completely alone. That's false. Keep pressing that.
So you rearranged the crime scene. Are you sure you didn't do this to keep Emma from looking like the murderer?
How many times do I have to tell you, Mr. Wright? Emma didn't do it. Period.
You're so desperate to hide that fact. You're willing to risk the death sentence.
She's lying. She did it so I wouldn't be blamed for what happened. In any case, as a prosecutor, what I've done is unpardonable. There's nothing I can do to make up for my actions. Mr. Wright, my sister is lying.
Looks like she's determined to protect you to the end. She insists she fabricated the evidence by herself.
There's no way she could have done it alone.
I've got to get Lana to talk more. She's lying. She's bound to slip up and make a contradiction.
Oh. I want to find that bit about the knife being in the wrong spot.
This one?
No.
That was in the bonus testimony.
I know.
See, I think it's this one.
Mm-hmm.
Miss Skye, I understand how you feel. You committed that crime 2 years ago to protect your sister. You mean the forgery at the scene where Neil Marshall was murdered? If that truth were to be exposed now, the past 2 years of your life will have been in vain. Even so, I'm compelled to bring to everyone's attention a significant contradiction within your testimony.
A contradiction? In my testimony?
You testified, and I quote, "The pieces of the jar that shattered during the events threaten my plan."
That's right.
You have a problem with that. It's a simple oversight, really. You see, a message was written on the jar with the victim's blood.
Yes. The prosecutor must have written it in his final moments.
Exactly so. And this is where the contradiction lies. In order for the victim to be able to write his message on the jar, it must not yet have been broken before he died.
Ah, just like I was pointing out.
He couldn't have written Emma's name on a shattered jar. Oh, that's her bandage on her hand.
Mm-hmm.
Order! Order!
Oh, for the white thing that she seems to be hiding behind her back, yeah.
Your Honor, it would appear more information is needed in regard to this jar and its bloody message. You may be missing something critical here. Something critical? Chief Prosecutor, it seems you're as in the dark as we are about the truth towards where we're headed.
What?
Just tell us exactly what you saw. We'll piece together the information to arrive at the truth. Very well. The witness may now continue her testimony.
Jar and message in blood. I immediately noticed the blood traces on the jar. But it was dark in the room and I didn't have time to check it out. To be safe, I wiped away the blood. The fragments were large, so I'm sure I got all of them. All I could think about was wiping them clean before they were discovered.
Gant hid it.
He hid one piece.
Yeah, which is why it wasn't wiped.
Mm-hmm.
You mean you were the one who wiped away the message in blood?
I wasn't chief prosecutor at the time. She didn't think Dark was the real murderer. That's why she tried to erase the real evidence.
I feel like we're going to lumen all that thing and get more. Very well. The defense may now begin its cross-examination.
Okay, you just press everything.
Yeah,
initially.
sorry, just tired. So the jar was already broken.
It's a miracle that thing hadn't broken earlier.
It certainly looks as feeble as the defense's case. Not as feeble as the judge's judgment. You're an ace detective who never missed a detail. Do you really expect us to believe you didn't investigate what was written on the jar pieces?
Normally I would have. But it was dark in the room, blah blah. Yep.
So you didn't know your sister's name was written on the jar?
No. If I had known, I would have gathered all the pieces and ground them to dust.
Well, that helps my case.
Lana, you'd do that for me?
Seems you two might make up yet.
Anyway, I just barely had enough time to move the body as it was.
If someone happened upon the scene, you'd lose your chance to erase the evidence. You must have been in a hurry.
I was. I knew I had to destroy the evidence before anyone came.
This is rather shocking.
To be safe, I wiped away the blood.
I'm afraid this action of yours reveals what really happened. What do you mean? If you really thought Dark killed Prosecutor Marshall, you wouldn't have wiped away the blood.
What else could I have done in that situation? Lana! I only had a few moments. There wasn't enough time for me to do anything else but gather up the pieces. Okay.
But how could you see with the power out? It should have been pitch black in the office.
A detective is always prepared, Mr. Wright. Even now, I always carry a pocket light and a camera with me. I even carry a bottle of emergency luminol wherever I go. I never miss anything. I got every last piece.
So we're going to present the pot again, probably. So you illegally rearranged the crime scene.
Yes. I don't have any excuse for my actions. I'm so sorry, Lana. I didn't know. I've treated you so badly all this time.
Not too late. There's still plenty of time to make up. After we've gotten to the bottom of this incident. No doubt this day will leave a permanent stain on the history of the prosecutor's office.
More contradictions have surfaced in her testimony.
I'm yawning. Now you're yawning.
Mm-hmm.
Your sister's really putting up a fight. She must really care about you. Still, she's not doing this the right way.
Hmm?
I think I've finally figured out the contradictions in her testimony. There's one final possibility that might turn everything around.
Are you just going to be presenting the pot again?
Probably. Miss Sky, I believe this jar conceals a truth that even you were unaware of.
What?
We found the final piece of this jar in Chief Gant's safe.
In the chief's safe? But how?
I knew it. She really did know. There's something even more disturbing about that final piece. There was still blood on it. But what the witness just testified. The witness just testified she gathered every last piece and wiped the blood off them. Yes, which leaves us with only one explanation. On the night Prosecutor Marshall was murdered, you were not the first one to show up on the scene. Chief Gant got there before you.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he would have, considering he was right behind Marshall.
Well, he said he went downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
But couldn't the defendant have simply missed a piece? I'm afraid that's unlikely. The pieces are too big for anyone to miss, let alone an ace detective. That may well be, but everyone makes mistakes. Even I once wasted an entire day looking for my dentures. They're in my mouth all along. I don't even have dentures. These are natural teeth. I brush often. Brush your teeth, kids! Have you forgotten, Your Honor? When this witness arrived at the scene, the jar was already broken. Oh, that! There's no way a name could have been written on the shattered jar. Another person discovered the scene prior to the witness. I hope you're not implying this person was Chief Gant. All this time, he was looking for Dark downstairs. Besides, even if he was there first, why would he break the jar? The question is, if he did arrive there first, why did he hide that fact for 2 years? Well, Your Honor, can you answer us that? No!
Oh, he doesn't have an exaggerated
I really wish he had like some kind of bizarre super hand.
Beard.
His beard just moves upwards. Wait, I'm not the one on trial here. Damon Gant arrived at the crime scene prior to the witness. He proceeded to break the jar and purposefully hid one of the broken pieces. Question: what is this action called? Fabrication of evidence. But why would Chief Gant do that? In light of what happened afterwards, isn't it clear? What happened afterwards? Discovering the scene, Lana Sky believed her sister Emma had killed the victim. Determined to help her sister, she sought Gant's aid. Lending her his aid, Chief Gant helped her create evidence that incriminated Dark, sparing Emma, and therein lies the reason. The reason why Miss Sky became the Chief's puppet.
No. I did it on my own.
There was blood there.
Please, sis, stop trying to protect the chief. I can't watch you suffer anymore for my sake. No, you didn't. It wasn't you, Emma. You didn't kill anyone.
She didn't. Gant did.
Mm-hmm. I don't believe anything Mr. Wright says. Defense attorneys make up the most foul lies to defend their clients. But
foul lies?
She's the client.
Imagine that coming from my own client. Huh. I guess you do seem the type who likes to twist the truth. Wait a minute. What if we're still smack dab in the middle of Gant's trap? There's something wrong, Mr. Wright. Lana, maybe right after all. What do you mean, Mr. Wright?
So, you do tell foul lies then, Mr. Wright?
No. Miss Sky, please testify once more.
But
if evidence was fabricated behind your back, then Emma's accidental killing of Prosecutor Marshall might also be a lie.
But I do remember knocking over Mr. Marshall. But at first she thought that it was Mr. Marshall that was being stabbed. She didn't know who she was pushing.
Yeah. Miss Sky, if you will.
I can't.
There's nothing to be afraid of anymore.
Mm-hmm.
This cross-examination may not change a thing. However, there's a possibility that it will, if you tell the truth.
Very well. I'll testify about what I really saw.
All right, the witness may testify once more for the final time. God, I was supposed to have lunch like 2 hours ago. I'm so hungry.
Actual crime scene.
And then this is supposed to be nap time. Oh.
When I arrived, I found Mr. Marshall's body impaled on that suit of armor, sword. So now she's not saying it was the other dagger. Emma and Dark were lying unconscious on the floor nearby. When I saw what had happened, I thought she did it. That's why I erased all the evidence that linked her to the murder. I had Chief Gant help me remove the body from the sword and carry it. But if it all really was a fabrication, Emma might be innocent.
Unbelievable! The body was impaled on the armor's sword. You're the only one who saw that. If only you had proof.
Actually, I do have proof. I gave it to Mr. Wright just this morning.
What? To me?
It's a picture I took of the crime scene as I encountered it. I thought it might be needed.
But I don't remember receiving a picture like that.
Lana must have known. See, Mr. Wright? She really does have faith in you.
Very well, Miss Wright. Please present this picture. I don't remember receiving any pictures from Lana.
Oh, is it in the book?
Yeah.
Lana said she gave it to you this morning, right?
I seem to remember getting something from her then.
Let's check that evidence again. There must be a picture in there somewhere. Ew. Can we open it up?
There it is. What? No?
Up the back. There we go. Ooh.
That's pretty bad.
Ugh.
Hey, there is a picture here.
Aw, poor guy. Oh wait, look! His vest was already cut!
Yeah.
And so that's where Emma would have pushed him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my! This is the actual crime scene.
You know, I know it would be kind of horrifying, but imagine if Detective Marshall was like in the background the entire time and you'd see like his emotions change slightly.
Oh, because of the spirit business?
Well, no, not Prosecutor Marshall.
Oh,
Desperado.
his brother.
Yeah, I was thinking that
left.
earlier. This might be a little bit gruesome, but like, you know, like in some of the background scenes, if you just saw him like just like freaking out a little bit. Poor guy. Anyway.
Yes, but how would he have known to cut off that particular part of his vest?
Unless there was very clear fingerprints or...
But the fingerprints we got were Emma's.
Yeah. So, Gant already... This is weird and confusing.
Yep. This is... Unless he cut off a piece of fabric and intentionally, like, while she was unconscious, he put her hand on it.
Ooh.
Something like that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
This is the actual crime scene. Oh, wait. Was that Emma? Or was that Lana?
No, that was Emma.
Okay, that was Emma? Okay, good. No other detectives saw the crime scene like this. Because I contacted Criminal Affairs only after I had arranged everything. Mr. Wright! That piece cut out from his vest. Could that be?
The cloth we found inside Chief Gant's safe. What's this? This is a handprint, isn't it?
Oh, this is a handprint, isn't it?
Oh.
That was Emma.
Emma, sorry.
That cloth, it had fingerprints on it. Whoever fingerprints those are must be the real murderer.
What? But those fingerprints, they're yours, Emma.
Oh, why are your lips turning all purple, Mr. Wright?
Anyway, let's get on with the cross-examination. So long as you tell the truth, we should be able to flush out the real murderer. Very well, the defense may now begin its cross-examination. Oh,
actual crime scene. When I arrived, I found Mr. Marshall's body, blah, blah, blah. Wait, what's going on? Who hold it? What? Gant, you were supposed to be on your lunch break.
Come now, Udgy. This is the poorest excuse for a trial I've ever seen. Chief Gant? What? Now you want to make me out to be the bad guy too? If so, I'd like to put a word or two in my defense. I'm afraid it's too late for that. What? You already declined to testify. That means you forfeited your right to make statements of any sort. This must be that risk we were talking about earlier. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy the sound of the noose tightening around your own neck.
Ooh, nice one, Edgeworth.
So what? You think I'm worried? Yes. After
Yeah,
that, yes. Sorry to disappoint you, but I don't need to make any statements. What do you mean? The evidence will do the talking for me. Even if I can't testify, I can still present evidence.
What evidence is he gonna present?
Yes, that's true. Wait, you mean you still have some conclusive evidence? No, I don't, but someone does. Someone? So, what's your excuse, Righto? Why have you been keeping quiet about it? You do have something to show us, right? Something that proves who knocked over Neil Marshall, causing his death. Conclusive evidence that leaves no room for doubt. Is this true, Mr. Wright? I even showed it to you earlier, you yuts. If I show that piece of evidence now... Emma's sure to be made out as the murderer. Mr. Wright, if you have any more evidence, present it now. And if you try to conceal anything, you will be the one appearing before the Board of Inquiries. What do I do now? I'd better think this through carefully. I can't afford to make the wrong decision. Should I present that piece of evidence? The one that shows who really killed Prosecutor Marshall.
I mean... Because if you don't show it, it's not like you can't show something else in its stead. Right?